Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we're going to go over a few things. We're going to continue our player predictions series. We're going to go over Chet Holmgren and all of his predictions and what to expect in this upcoming season. We'll also talk about how Alex Caruso almost ended up in Golden State, and we'll kind of give you an idea of what that trade package looks like, and you can kind of compare it to what we gave up for Caruso at that point. We'll also talk about a little bit of what Mario Chalmers said about how he doesn't want the Thunder to win again, and we'll kind of dive into that a bit more. And then at the end, we'll talk more about Josh Giddey, the other half of the Caruso trade, and kind of what has gone on with him over the past week. But kind of just continuing our player prediction series. If you haven't heard so far, we're just kind of going through all the rotational players, and we're going to kind of give our predictions, what to expect from them this year on awards, averages, just contributions to the team overall. If you haven't seen the last two, we've done Shea and J-Dub, and today will be Chet. And we talked a lot about Chet over the offseason because he's really, I think, the ultimate key and piece that holds this championship team together, because you look at him as, for me at least, one of the best rim protectors in the entire league, one of the best defenders in the entire league. And it's really just the factor of health. We'll continue to talk about it, health. If he can stay healthy and play above 65 games, he's without a doubt one of the best 25 players in the league, especially with his defensive impact. And you saw what at the beginning of the season before he got injured, what he was able to do. He was averaging 20 and 10 with like nearly 3 blocks before he went down with that injury that took him out most of the season. And I think we could really see that jump as well from Chet if he continues to stay healthy. I think we see a range where he could average nearly 20, maybe not get to that 20 point per game average, but get around 19 and a half. I think you could see him average a bit more rebounds, maybe get closer to 7, 8, maybe even 9 if you're lucky enough on the rebound side, and continue to grow that block and steal game on the defensive side. I think if he can get upwards of near 3 blocks and maybe a steal, that's going to put him in contention for Defensive Player of the Year, right up there with Evan Mobley, Victor Wembanyama, guys like that. And I really think we can see a jump from where Chet is in the discussions for an All-NBA team, where he's in discussion for All-Defensive team, obviously discussion for Defensive Player of the Year. I think he very well could be an All-Star guy this year, no question, and the Thunder could have their big three in the All-Star game. And I think we see a lot of that. I think it's just a lot of Chet continuing to work on building his muscle up, getting bigger on his side, and just being bigger and stronger in his legs and lower half. If he's able to build a bigger base and a stronger base, that's going to allow him to be able to land better and really just go out there and stay healthier when he's taking bumps from bigger guys like a Jokic, Karl Anthony Towns, maybe a Sengun, or guys like that who are bigger in stature than him, but he's still able to go out there and be one of the best rim protectors, but being able to take those bumps on a night in and night out basis for hopefully around 70, 75 games, if not closer to 80, if he's able to. So I think we see a really big jump from Chet this year. I think if he takes that next step, I think the Thunder, without a doubt, can be the first team to go back to back in over a decade. And I think it really could be all because of Chet. I think he really is the key that kind of holds everything together, not only on the defensive side because he's the defensive anchor and the rim protector, but he's able to, if he can improve that three-point shot and really stretch him out. So maybe when we have Chet playing the 5, you can run a 5 out, and Chet brings those guys out on the three-point perimeter. He can extend that, and it opens up many more lanes for guys like Shea, J-Dub, Aaron Wiggins, who likes to attack and get inside and allows them to work with a lot more space on the outer edge. And people kind of have to stay close to him because he'll be able to hit it at maybe a 35 to 37% clip. But now we'll kind of switch over to a thing that kind of showed up about how the Golden State Warriors almost got Alex Caruso before we did from the Bulls. And it came out, obviously we know that it was a Caruso and Giddey trade straight up, and we'll talk about Giddey here in a minute. But for the Warriors side of things, they actually turned down this deal. And what they did is the Bulls were looking for Kuminga and some other pieces. I don't know exactly what they were, but Jonathan Kuminga was the main piece in that trade. And now people are looking back on it like you have Giddey and you had Kuminga plus some other things. Did the Bulls make the right decision? Because obviously we benefited off of that majorly because Caruso ended up being such a big part of this championship run that we had this past year. For just the hypothetical, I feel like the Bulls really kind of struck out on that, and it's not a complete loss on their end because I think what we've seen from Giddey is he can be an all-star level player. We're not sure if Kuminga can do that because he hasn't really taken that jump. So it's just kind of interesting to see what would have changed over this past season if that trade went through for the Golden State Warriors instead of the Thunder, where the Thunder maybe would have still had Giddey, or we would have probably had to trade him for somebody else. But Caruso was such a vital piece to this team that it really does feel like if that trade went through and we weren't able to get Caruso, that we may not have a championship now. We might be looking at this team in a whole different sense. But now we'll kind of go into a more funny / negative route. And on a podcast yesterday, Mario Chalmers came out and said that he doesn't want the OKC Thunder to win. He realizes that they're a small market team, and he doesn't think that a small market team winning back-to-back championships is good for the league. He said he wants the big markets to get back in there and win it, which is just kind of funny to hear because over the past 2 seasons or whatever, everybody, until we got really good and we were at one of the best defensive teams, all of that this past season, everybody was all for us. We were a small market team. Everybody was like, all right, take down the big LA, New York teams, Golden State, all that type stuff. And now that we won it, everybody wants to turn their back and be like, oh, we're the villains now, so we don't want you to do anything. You've got your championship. Now we want it to go another way. But for you to say that you want the big market teams to go out there and do it is just kind of crazy, because when you have small market teams win, that brings the more casual fans out, and it allows and shows the league that your small market teams can still compete, and it's not just all of your big cities that continually just win over and over, like your LA, Boston, New York, and teams like that. And it's just kind of funny to hear how everybody's kind of switched the script on us to how we were everybody's favorite and until we win, but now that we win, everybody's like, no, you're the villains now. We want you to lose and not get anything out of it. So it feels good as the Thunder fans, because we've never experienced it, and now everybody's starting to say some of us are bandwagons because we've won it now, and it's just kind of funny to see how everything is running full circle to how everybody's now saying that we're bandwagon fans, we don't deserve any of this and all of that. So it's just kind of funny to hear that. And let me know down below what you think about that comment from Mario Chalmers. But we'll wrap up this video with a former Thunder player kind of talking about the other side of the Caruso-Giddey trade, and Giddey getting a 4-year, $100 million deal / extension for the Chicago Bulls. Quick math, that's $25 million a year, which in this day and age with how the apron is and all that, that's not a bad contract for a guy like Giddey. And we talked about it. I think Giddey's kind of already jumped Kuminga on that side of, I think Giddey's a better player. We saw him really take a jump for the Bulls and really be a great player for them and the main ball handler on that team. So I think without a doubt he earned that contract, and that's why I've talked about it so much. So many people talk about how they think the Bulls just absolutely got fleeced and it was a lose-lose trade. I don't think that necessarily. I think obviously the Thunder got the better end of it because we got a championship the next year. But Giddey's now getting the extension, and I think he's going to be a great player for them. Now it's just a matter of, are the Bulls front office going to be able to coherent enough to put a team around him to possibly compete in the East when it's that much weaker? Hopefully they can, but it's kind of interesting to see that Giddey is getting his contract now, which is a 4-year, $100 million contract. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel so much, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.